Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Power Hour. Jim here from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, episode 277. Thank you for joining me tonight. Speaking of joining, Brian's not here. Long story short, I am recording this on the 9th. Earlier in the week was his birthday, and then he had to do some traveling for work, so the timing just wasn't going to work out. I have band practice this week, so it's either this or no episode. And we like to keep the content coming to you guys. I am recording this shortly after watching the Phillies blow yet another series. They were the best team in baseball for like 3/4 of the year. And after the All-Star break, they got very mid. They took the foot off the pedal and they just shit the bed. You know what? I'm not even mad about it anymore because I've lived through so much sports disappointment in the last couple years. It's mind-boggling. And there's something to be said for when you have teams that go to the playoffs in your sports a lot. And that's true. I guess it always could be worse. But there's something more about a team with expectations that shits the bed that hurts so much more than a team with no expectations not doing anything. You just go, well, duh. What? But it's just we had the best record in baseball for so much of the season. We won the division for the first time in 13 years, and we lose to the fucking Mets. Now, granted, credit to the Mets. They made all the right moves during the season. They got the right players. They promoted the right players. They made the right moves. They deserve to be there. As painful as that is to say. Whereas the Phillies got Austin Hayes. God. So, yeah, there you go. $260 million per year payroll and first round exit. Oh boy, what a wonderful thing. Everyone's older next year. Nothing will be wrong. This is perfect. And this is coming after watching both them and the Eagles blow it into 22 seasons. Oh, and the Union for that matter. The Eagles last season were the best team. They had a 10-1 record. And then they won one of their last 7 and got a first round booting to fucking Tampa Bay. So whatever, man. Sixers, perennial second round boots, busts. It is what it is. So luckily I get to be numb about that pain because I've been here. And as a Philadelphia sports fan, we have had 2 championships in a city with 4 major sports. And even soccer, I guess. But counting the 4 major sports, we've had 2 championships since 1983, which is the tail end of our glory years between the Flyers, Phillies, and Sixers. So, yeah, that's over 160 seasons of professional sports and 2 championships. It's not very good. But, like I said, is what it is. But back to the fun. At least my Twitter will be going back to the normal now that I'm not going to be bitching about Philadelphia sports as much for now. So back to everything. I know that our upload schedule has been a little wonky lately, but between kid birthdays and other birthdays and just, sports and life, it's been tough keeping that weekly schedule. So we're doing what we can. It might, slow down as the holidays. Oh, fuck. I'm expecting it to slow down as the holidays come around. That makes absolutely no sense. But, we're still here and we'll still be pumping out these episodes for you. So let's get into the brass tacks of the evening with what I am drinking. And to drown my sorrows from professional sports losses. I was actually over a neighbor's house for the first half of the game. So I already started drinking a little early, but took a little breaky poo and I'm back. 3 beers left. 3 rush beers left, and this case is finally over. So I'm going to be pounding a couple of these tonight. What I've been playing lately, and it's not a lot. For those who are new to the show, this rush beer was from Henderson Brewing. It was exclusive to Canada for a number of years, and only within the last calendar year has it become available worldwide, or at least in North America. So about a year and a half ago, they actually had a shipment to a somewhat local beer distributor. They bought a bunch of cases. So I drove 2 hours to get there first thing when they opened so I could get me some. So I've given some away to some Rush fans. Anyone who knows the podcast, you've already heard this, but I gave some away to Rush fans over the years. And then once it became, actually available, I went, oh, I have all these beers for absolutely no reason, so I might as well drink them. And I gotta say, it is a very nicely balanced golden ale, and for being over a year old, it actually still tastes and drinks really well. So, like I said, very solid beer right here, and it doesn't have that like abject heaviness that a lot of golden ales can have. Like you can have a few of these and not feel like completely bloated. And 5.5% alcohol is always solid, so if you see it, get your hands on it. If you're a Rush fan, I would definitely recommend it. When it comes to gaming and what I've been playing lately, not a lot. I finished off the DLC. It turns out like I was just about done the DLC for Postal 2, well, at least the Apocalypse Weekend, before we recorded the last episode. And I like literally saved to start recording with like 10 feet left to walk in the last level before the final boss fight. So yeah, I was able to finish that off quickly. And really, I haven't had a lot of time. Slay the Spire is still my poop quest to beat Ascension 20. And man, Ascension 20 is no joke, because Brian, when he played it for a little bit, complained about getting to the boss of Act 3 and dying and being like, that's the last step before you clear a round. Of course, there's the extra bosses afterwards, but to get it clear, to move on in Ascension, you have to kill the Act 3 boss. Act 3 boss is always super tough. On Ascension 20, you have to kill 2 back-to-back in a row. Holy God, is that a nightmare. It's tough enough just to beat one of the bosses, and then to be thrown into another one is just like, okay. And then, of course, there's always going to be a boss that's going to be like really bad against your current build. I mean, all the pro players of it are just like, well, build for anything. It's like, oh, okay, you're better than me. Screw you. But yeah, so I'm still just going to try and get my level 20 win with the defect and then delete it off my goddamn phone and stop wasting my life on it. But for now, it's still the quest. Hopefully it doesn't take 5 years like Tetris 99 did. But yes, as I talked about Postal 2, that was a Patreon review request from our lovely patrons. And when you're over at that Patreon, you can head on over and check out the other tiers, like the $2 tier, where you can ask any question every week on this podcast. So patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, $2 a month, ask a question every single week. We thank the patrons always again for the support. Man, my lead-ins suck this week, but I don't care. I'm a beaten down, depressed little Jimmy of a sports fan. Oh God, is it painful. But love these questions, so let's start off with a carryover that we didn't get to in time for episode 276. From Todd Howard Sucks. Would you rather be insanely strong, like lifting a car with ease, or ultra fast, up to 200 miles an hour? 200 miles an hour, because I'm so sick of driving. I am the primary driver in my household, so I drive basically everywhere. And if I could just run and be somewhere instantly, like 200 miles an hour, you're getting somewhere super fast. So I hate flying. So one, that would mean I would never have to fly again. And two, like my commute to work would take like a second. Getting anywhere, doing anything that I normally would do would take absolutely no time at all. Like, yeah, I would want to run. Now I might need to work out a little bit and have a little bit of strength in me running and doing my tasks because, I got to be carrying around shit and all that stuff. But I guess can't have best of both worlds. But I think just in general, being able to run would be the better option. And plus, can get into so much mischief. No one's going to catch you. You're going 200 miles an hour. So it's perfect. Think of the possibilities for activities. Man, there's no good connotation for that. So whatever you're imagining right now, you're probably right. Moving on to the questions for this week. Once again, from our good buddy Todd Howard Sucks. Did they fix that highway that collapsed around y'all yet? What highway? I don't remember a highway collapsing. I think I would have remembered a highway collapsing. I know a bunch collapsed thanks to that hurricane from a couple weeks ago that just destroyed North Carolina. And then now as we're talking, Hurricane Milton's about to come through fucking Florida and wreck that joint. So if you're a listener and you're in the Florida area, my heart goes out to you. I hope you all stay safe. Evacuate if you can. Protect yourselves. It sucks, man. Like seeing what happened to LGR's house from the one a couple weeks ago, like that just blows. And it's heartbreaking to see like, yeah, it's all possessions, but it's like, It's your stuff. Like, at the end of the day, you care about your stuff. But obviously, being safe is the most important. So take care of yourselves out there, people. The only one I can think of is maybe that bridge that collapsed in Delaware. Or it was Delaware, right? Maryland, maybe. But yeah, Baltimore, I think. And to be honest with you, I don't know. We might have to ask Brian next week because he makes that trip to Baltimore all the time. I can't imagine the bridge has been replaced that fast. Oh shit, he's probably talking about I-95. That's probably what he's talking about. So for those who don't remember, was it a year ago now? I forget when that happened. It might have been even less. But a tanker truck just went way too fast, careened off an exit, blew itself the fuck up, and it was a full oil tanker, and the heat of that collapsed Interstate 95, a small section of it. And I-95 is the most important roadway, not only in Philadelphia, but probably one of the most important on the entire East Coast. It goes from, I think, Maine all the way down to Florida. It connects the entire goddamn coast. And of course, Philadelphia has another black eye on it with some asshole not being able to drive his fucking truck. And yes, to answer your question, it is back up and running. So originally they were like, this is going to be, down and like detoured for months, if not a year. And I guess everyone else in the tri-state area went, you better fix this shit right the fuck right now. So what they did is they imported this like random building filler material that's made of like glass that you like super press into this like super hard substance almost into rock. And it's like recycled glass that they like, super compressed, like almost diamond hardness. They threw a shitload of that in there and then just cemented over it and blacktopped it. And yeah, they rebuilt the whole fucking section within like a month. Not even, it might have been even less. It was back up and running. So I don't think it's like a permanent fix, but like it did get rid of an overpass section. So now there's like, a street that's just cut in half now, but that's a small price to pay. But yeah, I also think they might have to redo an entire exit. I'm not sure about the specifics on that, but considering how catastrophic of a failure it was, they got the roadway back up pretty goddamn fast. So anyone living in that exit area, it's a pain in the balls, but it could always be a lot worse for everyone else. So yes, to answer your question, we got the I-95 back up and running. Next up from Burn Retinas. This may have been asked before, but what is DPPG's stance on absinthe? I've never had it myself, but its reputation is all over the place, from its flavor being bad, causing hallucinations, or turning people into psychopaths. Have you ever indulged or known anyone who enjoys it? So I remember like absinthe becoming like the big like holy shit like band kind of thing. This like legendary liqueur around the time of like Eurotrip when it came out and how they were like freaking out on that. I've had it once. And yeah, like I don't remember it tasting like bad. We had it back in college. Someone was able to get a bottle and I had some, and I know, I guess you're supposed to put the fire in it. Maybe we didn't do that to activate it, but I think all those urban legends about it, this is if I'm remembering correctly. I could look it up, but that would be effort. But if I do remember correctly, it's more of an urban legend and people just have these like super blackouts and hallucinations because they just drink an absolute fuck ton of it. So basically it's another alcohol blackout. And obviously alcohol hits people different ways, different alcohols. Like God knows I'm a way different drunk with beer than I am with whiskey, than I am with tequila. So I have to imagine absinthe would be the same way. I had like a couple drinks of it. I don't remember it tasting that bad. So I don't remember, like, I think if it was bad, I would have definitely remembered, but I took some drinks and I was like, this is fine. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's a whole lot of hoopla over nothing. Maybe people are spiking it or putting other stuff in there, but and again, I could be wrong. I've been wrong about things before. I haven't looked into absinthe in like 20 years, but yeah, I've had it. It was fine. And anyone who ever had freakouts or really enjoys it, knowing that I know personally, it seems like one of those things like almost would be more in the lexicon, like kind of like how Cuban cigars are, where like everyone wants a Cuban because you can't have it. And then when you do have it, you're like, yeah, this is pretty good, but like I'm also not a cigar guy. I tried to be for a little while. I have a humidor, but that's one of those things that's like, oh, Jimmy's going to be a cigar guy. Humidor, whole bunch of cigars, smoke them all and go, this is a lot of work. Like when I tried to be a watch guy and I got a watch case and like 2 or 3 nice ones. I have a Movado, and then I went, why do I need a watch when I have a phone? So, yeah. I'm one of those types of guys. What the hell was I even talking about? I don't even remember at this point. But anyway, next up, from Gamer Astral. Oh my God. Do you believe that there could be an alien disclosure happening soon? I mean, have you seen the shit that's been recorded lately? Shit's getting weird for entertainment purposes only. Cheers. I'll just say it. I believe that there's got to be some kind of aliens out there. There's no way in hell that this universe is as expansive as it is, and that there isn't something out there. And if there is something out there, like something you would think would be technologically advanced enough to be out there watching us, it would not shock me at all. And it's probably one of those memes that like a lot of shows have done before, where it's like they see what we do to each other down here and they went, fuck that, we're just going to watch the shit show. Observe and report, the WATP motto. So yes, something's got to be out there. It just makes sense. Like, I don't know how you can say aliens don't exist when like we're really the only sentient beings of this level of intelligence in the entire universe. Like, come on now. Now, do I believe in a lot of the sightings and all that bullcrap? Probably not. You could probably have some logical explanations for a lot of them, but some of them might be. I can't tell you that it's not aliens. So, aliens. And let me check the old questionroonies here. Yep, that's it. So that wraps up the questions for this week. So once again, thank you to everyone out there for all the support. Make sure to head on over to Patreon. Check out all those tiers for game review requests, movie review requests, bonus episodes. And we actually have the Krusty Corner, which we have a new episode up this week that I recorded, talking about censorship in the new Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, which once again is an awful name for a game, but it's a whole nother story. So yes, head on over there for as little as $1 to see the bonus segment. And once again, thank you all for the support. Cheers. All right, so getting into the news stories of the week. And first up, some segments we're getting into we haven't done a little bit. We always love them, though. And it is the weird items. So first up, we have a weird beer item. And this comes to us from the Heavy Cup. So what the hell is the Heavy Cup? Well, the Heavy Cup is strength in every sip. We believe everyday life should be heavier. Whether a sip of coffee or a shot of whiskey, earn your enjoyment with cups that showcase your strength. So, the Heavy Mug is the world's heaviest mug. It comes in sizes of 10 kilograms or 22... Alright, you know what? Fuck this UK shit. 22 pounds, 19 pounds, or 14 pounds. So yes, a 22-pound mug. So basically, you're giving yourself a hell of a workout if you want to earn your friggin' drinks. Which, I mean, let's be honest here. This is one of those things where it's like, you're going to use it as a gimmick a couple times, and then it's just so not worth the effort, you'll never touch it again. And this is kind of right up my alley. Like, when I first saw this thing, I went, oh, that's actually really goofy and cool. Like, I haven't done solo videos on the website in ages, but I like doing my hardware reviews when I do, and that'll be a definite gimmick review that would be worth it to me. And you could also struggle to see me lift something 22 pounds one-handed because I'm a little fat pussy. But what killed that for me was the price. Not cheap. So the 22-pounder that holds 13.5 ounces of your drink of choice comes in at $220. My God. So there's other ones. There's 5-pound heavy mugs that are about $90. There's a rest day tumbler that is 40 ounces and comes in at $50. So yeah, there's even 1-pound shot glasses, full 1-pound shot glasses that cost $40. A $40 shot glass. My God, that is just insane. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely an interesting gimmick. So, durable food-grade stainless steel crafted to cup form and made to contain beverages while tearing arms apart. Crush your enemies with ease. Conquer continents. Scare children with your bulging bicep bumps. All this and more included with the regular use of a heavy mug. Hand washable only. You may be able to handle this cup, but your dishwasher is a chump. Potentially heavy. For some. So, I mean, yeah, that would be heavy for me. So like I said, it's something I would have been really interested in to look at if it wasn't so ridiculously goddamn expensive. And it's not like the other sizers are any less expensive. Like the 14-pound one that only holds 5 ounces. Like 5 ounces is nothing. So I mean, with all the constant pouring you're going to be doing with that and all the sips, like you're going to finish that thing off in no time. $180. So I get it's stainless steel and like molded stainless steel, but man. And apparently there was a gold one, which I believe is just gold plated. Like it's not going to be actual gold. That a gold plated 22-pounder that is not available for sale anymore. That was $250. So I guess everyone put those up for some reason. So extra gimmick on your gimmick. But I mean, I honestly think it's a cool idea. It's something I like to see. Like Brian works out a lot. So this would be one of those fun beer videos where like we would see how long we can last drinking out of one of these goddamn things. I think that would be a cool idea for a video, but I don't think it's going to be worth, especially with our numbers. It's definitely not going to be worth spending $220 on for, a video like that. But again, I can at least see like some interest in something cool out of that. Unlike our next gimmick weird item, which comes to us from the world of gaming. And this actually is hot off the presses. This got shown off today. Nintendo is releasing an alarm clock, the Alarmo. They're keeping with the gimmicks, but what is the Alarmo? And really what it is it is a digital alarm clock that's like interactive in a way. It comes with 5 presets based on different games like Super Mario Odyssey and I forget what the other ones are. It had like a long ass video showing it off. So let me see what these other gimmicks that you have here are. You have Mario Odyssey. You have sound effects from that. You have Splatoon, I believe. Oh, you have Pikmin 4, Splatoon 3, Ring Fit Adventures, and Breath of the Wild. So what it'll do is it'll have like little interactive scenes that it'll show you, songs from the things, and even like as the alarm's going off and if you hit snooze, it'll like track your body motion. So it'll do different sounds as you're moving around after your alarm goes off to like, I guess, keep annoying you to get you up. Like the example they showed in the video was the Mario coin sound. And every time you like toss and turn as you're getting up, it'll just bling, 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 bling. So that'll just like, it's supposed to annoy you to wake you up as an alarm clock is. I mean, it's a big red motherfucker with a big white knob on top. It's a goofy looking thing. And as of right now, it's only available on the Nintendo Switch website to Nintendo Online subscribers. I believe it's also in the Nintendo store in New York. But the price, $100. Well, technically $99.99. So $100, you get a digital alarm clock with some built-in Nintendo gimmicks. What? $100? What? Who is going to spend, even the most diehard of Nintendo fans? Please tell me out there that you people will not go out and spend $100 on an alarm clock. Like, we all have phones. We all have cell phones. We all have cell phones there. You can make a Nintendo sound come from your phone that way. Like, you don't need this. This is such a waste of money. It's only going to be for the most diehard of diehards, but like, can you imagine being like a single guy and like going out and finally talk a girl and coming back home with you? She sees a fucking Nintendo alarm clock on your bed. Like, you better have the best game in the goddamn world to pull that off, man. But, the bad part is someone's going to buy it. I don't think this is going to be one of those huge hits. I could almost see this being one of those like gimmicky things that's like kind of expensive in like 4 years from now when they stop releasing it. And it's a thing that like barely anyone bought. So the ones that are out there, people flock and pay on eBay overpriced for. And that there's that sick part of my brain that goes, hey, you should probably get this because no one's going to buy it and then it'll be worth value. But it's like, it's not even worth it for that for me, man. Like, I have enough dumb shit that it just sits around as is. Even for a potential investment, I don't I'm talking about an alarm clock as an investment. I'm an asshole. Nintendo fans are assholes. Nintendo's assholes for putting this out. But I'm the bigger asshole for even considering this. Yes, please don't buy this. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, people. It's not for me. That's for goddamn sure. Maybe it'll be for you. Maybe if you have a kid that's like an ultra Nintendo fan, it's for kids. Kids will love it. If you have a kid that like loves their Nintendo Switch and plays on it all the time, loves Mario, loves Zelda, it would probably be a cool Christmas gift. But then, they'd be disappointed when you cut down on the number of gifts you give them because you spent $100 on an alarm clock. So good luck to you out there, parents. So I have to say, while doing these solo episodes, I do enjoy this rush beer, but a golden ale is definitely a heavier beer to have as a sipper and a pounder when you're like constantly talking like I'm doing right now. That kind of duty is way better for a Coors Light where it's almost like water just to hydrate you, where this is like it's grabbing the throat. The old trope, you don't appreciate how much it helps to have someone talk for a little while to bounce off of when recording a podcast, so you're not just wrecking your throat through an entire recording. Woe is me. Life is so hard. Boo, boo, boo. But it hurts my throat. It hurts the throaty a little bit. But let's keep talking about Nintendo while we're at it. And this comes to us on October 1st, so last week. So, Ryujinx, a Nintendo Switch emulator, has ceased development. The lead developer was pressured by Nintendo of America into shutting down the project. All downloads in the GitHub repositories have been removed. So this comes to us from a Twitter user called Oatmeal Dome, or X, the everything app. And it shows a Discord message from Rip and Perry Perry, R.I.P. and Perry Perry. I guess that's the person who is the lead developer. And they write, yesterday, GDK Chan was contacted by Nintendo and offered an agreement to stop working on the project, remove the organization and all related assets he's in control of. While awaiting confirmation on whether he would take this agreement, the organization has been removed, so I think it's safe to say what the outcome is. Rather than leave you with only panic and speculation, I decided to write this short message to give some closure. These words are my own. I don't want to speak for anyone else here, so just remember that while reading. Thank you to everyone who has contributed code, documentation, or issue reports to the project. Thank you all following us throughout the development. I was able to learn a lot really neat things about games that I love, enjoy them with renewed quantities and unique circumstances, and I'm sure you all have experiences that are similarly special. I'm extending my own massive thanks to our moderation team who have been here throughout some rough circumstances and have always found ways to make it right. So, yeah. We went through this a couple months ago with Yuzu when that got shut down by Nintendo. Nintendo just does not fuck around at all. And I think if you're a person out there who's working on emulation of any sort for Nintendo, especially current gen stuff, you're playing with fire, man. Like, you can't be... I am fully in support of emulation. I am fully in support of ROM dumping and piracy and mods. I don't care. I am not going to cry for $1 billion company if a handful of people in the grand scheme of things steal their shit. That is the price cost, whatever. That's called doing business. And yes, the people who worked on it should get paid. I fucking agree. But let's not pretend that we'd all haven't used emulators before, wouldn't kill for ways to have free shit. I mean, maybe I'm showing my age here because I was the Napster generation. I was, LimeWire and Kazaa and Pirate Bay and all that shit. And there was a good, decade at the very least where I refused to pay for media. So I was probably the outlier because I was a guy who was like, why would I ever pay for anything when you can just steal it? And weirdly enough, I didn't do that with games, though. Like, all my stupid game collections, I never really emulated on a computer because I just enjoyed the actual feel. Even with retro shit. Like, I never really liked using computer emulators. It's one of those necessary evils that are, good for easier gameplay capture for retro games or for playing through games and reviewing stuff that I would have never afforded otherwise. There's a place for it. But it just never felt as good as, using actual controller with an actual cartridge on an actual system. But, I mean, that's just me. Most people are very different when it comes to that. But, yeah. I mean, I'm fully in support of any emulators. And I still wonder what legal action Nintendo has to go after the emulator developers, because I always thought the blanket rule was emulators are legal. It's the ROMs that are basically illegal. So like selling someone else's ROMs, that's the illegal part. But ROM dumping and emulation development, I am once again not a lawyer. So I don't know the technicalese of all this and the legalese, but to me it seems like Nintendo just like they have that big waving dick of money that they can go, you might think you can fight this, but you're not going to win. And no matter what, they're going to outspend you. You're not going to outspend Nintendo, especially small teams of emulator developers in a Discord. So it is what it is, and it sucks. It really does suck to see. But, like anything else, time will move on, and people will eventually make these emulators that get out to the ether, and you'll get it eventually, and eventually Nintendo won't care. That'll really be when the Switch 2 is out, I guess. But in the meantime, it's another blow to the emulation community. That sucks. But, I don't know how anyone could be surprised about anything like this because it's Nintendo. And Nintendo is the most vicious of any of the game companies out there with going after these people. So they had to know it was coming. So while I'm sure that the developers were blindsided, at least a little bit, because you kind of have to be by the cease and desist, this was some news that came out that as of today, once again, breaking news, Ubisoft is being sued for allegedly sharing Ubisoft Store and Ubisoft Plus user data with Meta. The class action complaint claims Ubisoft sends user data to Facebook without permission. So as reported by Bloomberg Law, so this is coming to us from Video Games Chronicle. Bloomberg Law, the class action complaint accuses Assassin's Creed publisher of sharing personally identifiable information, or PII, with Facebook company Meta. According to the complaint, players who use Ubisoft website to buy a game on the Ubisoft Store or use it to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus are having their PII sent to Meta through its Pixel user tracking software. What? So the defendant did not disclose that the website that PII users personally identifying information would be captured by the Meta platforms, tracking Pixel utilized by defendant, and then transferred to Meta, thereby exposing subscribers as PII to any person of ordinary technical skill who receive that data, the complaint says. Data sharing policies for a service or subscription is an important factor for individuals deciding whether to provide personal information to that service. The complaint claims that the practice is a violation of the Video Piracy Protection Act, and it was originally introduced in 1988 to prevent video rental stores from sharing a member's PII because it could specifically tie the identity of an individual to their purchase history. So it goes on to say about the growth of digital distribution, how widespread of a problem this could be, and all that. So the lawsuit has currently not yet received class action certification, but the plaintiffs are seeing the trial by jury, or want to see a trial by jury, and want financial compensation for everyone affected, as well as a court order instructing Ubisoft to either remove the Pixel from its website or get consent from users before it shares that PII. I mean, if this is the case, then by all means, please go for it. And this isn't even the digital future. This is the now. And this isn't even just video games or the digital side of everything. This is literally everything that we touch. There's no reason for your refrigerator to have Wi-Fi. Let's put it that way. But everything out there has an internet connection. Everything will take your data of some sort. Everything is connected to something else that will want your data. And at the end of the day, there's no privacy anymore. There's no protecting yourself anymore. If you have a phone, you're not off the grid. There's no such thing as that anymore. If you're worried about, like, my parents, here's the thing. My parents called me like 2 weeks ago, like freaking out because they got a credit violation report, and like, they got one of those emails to scare boomers that says the last four of your social security code have been shared on the dark web. And, a year ago they signed up for one of those identity services and shit like that. And my dad's 81. My mom's in her mid-70s. They don't know any of this crap. So I looked it up, and it's like you go to the dumb website that's like protecting your identity, and it's like you got this notice because someone might have looked into your stuff or someone might know some of your numbers. And I'm thinking, like, it doesn't matter. I've put my social security number on so many goddamn websites that's like, it's just a matter of time. Everyone's info is out there. It's all been stolen. Like, I've been part of Gmail links or hacks. I've been part of the PlayStation hacks 1,000 fucking times. Like, your data's done. You are done. You have no protection. You have no privacy, no matter how protected and private you think you are. No, you don't. You are done. And all these fucking mega corporations are just going to do any backdoor way they can to make some money off of you. And they will do it until they get caught and go, oopsie, my bad. And they're going to pay people out, and then they're going to go back and they will do it again. This won't be the first time. This won't be the last time. This won't probably isn't Ubisoft's first time. This definitely won't be Ubisoft's last time. And I'm sure as fuck with all the goddamn data that like Meta and Facebook have from billions of people around the world. Like Zuck could be the world overlord at this point if he wanted to. But again, that's our digital present. So yeah, I mean, let's get a little bit of a win for the little guys. If anyone out there has been putting their information through Ubisoft with their purchases and all, and they've had their information stolen, yeah, get your piece, get yours. It should go to trial. Fuck Ubisoft. Who cares? So yeah, it's not surprising in the least, but I am in full support of this going to trial. And you know us at the Power Hour Podcast. We love our lawsuits and court cases. It's one of our favorite things to follow. From the stupid all the way up to the long-reaching and the goofiest ones out there. Beer or gaming. We love it. Beer break. So, let's move on to another mega corporation with Microsoft and their flagship franchise, Halo. So, on October 6th, Halo itself made an announcement that developer 343 Industries has been renamed to Halo Studios. All future Halo games will be developed in Unreal Engine 5. And they put out a 6.5-minute video on their official YouTube page, basically saying like how cool Unreal Engine 5 is and how Halo was a benchmark for graphics for the original Xbox. And they think it basically was 6.5 minutes of them saying that like they're going to put Halo in a brand new direction into the new era thanks to Unreal Engine 5 and a graphics overhaul. Whoop-de-fucking-do. This is Smithers going, but she's got a new hat. Like, Halo hasn't sucked since 343 took over because of the graphics. The graphics were the least of the game's problems. Ever since goddamn Halo 4, the games have just been not as fun. Halo 4 kind of sucked. I didn't even play 5 or Infinite yet, but 5 I hear almost universally sucked. And Infinite, it's got some fans, and it's like half and half from what I've seen. It's got a lot of lovers and a lot of haters. And I know Halo Wars 2 sucked. I loved the first Halo Wars, and I played through the second one, and I was just kind of very meh the whole time. And then the goddamn story mode left on a cliffhanger, which I don't even care about story, and that pissed me off. Me! So, it's a very weird decision. They were hyping up this huge announcement of like a new era, fresh start for Halo. And it's just like talking about graphics. Who fucking cares? And you know what? It turns out no one did care about that because everyone is talking about the developers. Thanks to people like Grums and the other grifters of the world. Baby, we're in the Culture Wars section of the podcast. I hate that there's a Culture Wars section, but you can't escape it. So, everyone's favorite asshole Grums tweeted out about the two of the creators. So, first one is Melissa Boone, who is the chief of staff for 343 Industries. I mean, she's a black woman with all the pride flag colors behind her and her banner. Has all the pronouns and all that crap like that. And also showing off this guy, Nick, who goes by the PJS Skittles or whatever that is. And he's got like, you know, the rainbow flag, the trans flag, and the Palestine flag in his profile. He's a producer for Halo and just says, views are my own. And all the shitheads out there are going after him saying, Halo's cooked, the DEI, the wokies are about us, and they're coming after us. And I'm just like amazed that these people can find ways to, like, Halo isn't good anymore. Like, your DEI isn't going to kill Halo. Halo is dying a slow death because Halo hasn't evolved. Yeah, okay, I'll stop. But yeah, like, it's the same, like, it hasn't been as good since Reach. Like, the storylines have sucked from what I've seen. Like, it hasn't given people what they've wanted. The gameplay loop hasn't been as fun. And, like, I do really mean to get to, because Halo was one of my favorite series, but Halo 4 and Halo Wars 2 just put such a bad taste in my mouth that, like, I have no desire to get to them. Like, I should, because I've played every other Halo. I own every other Halo up until now. I even own Halo 5, like a disc of that. I just haven't popped it in the fucking system yet. Like, I should get around to them. Like, I grew up with Halo for a lot of it. I didn't even own an Xbox until, like, the late 2000s with my 360, but I played so much goddamn Halo over friends' houses and in the commuter lounge at Drexel with, with Brian, and Brian has his stories about how I was a dickhead from knowing the maps and knowing where the cloaks were and the rocket launchers. And yes, I was that dick. I will take my wins where I can because I have so few. But Halo is very important to me as a gamer. And, you play so many titles until you go, I don't think this is for me anymore. I didn't even, I liked Reach. Hot take, I guess. Reach was okay at best. Reach was when they started to throw so many goddamn gimmicks in that I was just like, it doesn't feel like Halo. Like, you're copying, all the perk systems and shit from COD. And then COD stole all the wall jumping and parkour shit from Halo and Titanfall. Like, Titanfall was the only fucking originally feeling base first-person shooter of the early 2010s. And then Overwatch and all that team-based bullshit that, floods the market now. But, yeah, it's just, it's not what it was. Its time has passed. Like, anyone out there who's, trying to convince you that, people with pride flags in their profile are going to be the end of Halo, they don't actually care about Halo. They're just getting their clicks, their usual anger clicks from the usual crowd. It's fucking dumb, and it just happens every single time, and I'm just shocked. They pull this out of their ass, and they pull these strings so much that they can take a 6-minute video about Unreal Engine 5 for fucking Halo and find a way to culture war the shit out of it. So, whatever, man. Like, I hope the next one's cool, but if all they're doing is overhauling the graphics, I don't have any faith in it. I honestly thought they were getting new. I thought there were rumors for a while about a new studio taking over Halo, and 343 was out, and everyone was excited about that because 343 has not been good, and it's still just Halo 3 with a new name and prettier graphics. Whatever, man. Rest in peace to Halo. I have no faith in it anymore. So let me know in the comments below if you honestly think that these project leads and having, I guess women and DEI and liberals running your game, you think out of nowhere that liberals suddenly have infested the game industry and entertainment as if they haven't been around the entire time. I don't know, man. It's just weird. And speaking of weird, wait, before we get to that, we have us a follow-up, everybody. Speaking of the lovely culture war, we have the Real Game Awards. The Real Game Awards are back, and we have an update from our favorite buddies, Stuttering Craig and the rest of those fucking assholes. So, this post came to us from the official Game Awards account 5 days ago on X, the Everything app. We are proud to announce the 25 award categories for this year's event, as nominated by you, our voting members. Paid members, by the way. Remember, they're all paid. Gotta be $30. You're not just celebrating the best, but also making fun of the worst. In addition to 20 awards for excellence, we also have 5 awards for sucking. How professional. So the categories are the biggest industry failure, the best PlayStation IP, the best Microsoft IP, the best Nintendo IP, the game of the year, the shitty-ass game of the year, the best jiggle physics. I'm fine with this. The worst bait and switch, the best FPS, the best third-person shooter, the best fighting game, the waifu of the year, the best company, the best story, the best MMO, the best multiplayer experience, the best early access game, the biggest cash grab, the best value, the husbando of the year, the best video game journalist, the worst video game journalist, the best sports game, the best RPG, and the best racing game. So, A lot of people are, in the column, or, they're asking like legitimate things like, hey, how about best sound design? How about like, some real categories like that? And like, really? Like, these are the things you come up with. Like, if you're trying to like make it for the actual gamers and you're trying to not just make a complete joke out of this grift, and it is a grift. Like, we all know it's a grift. And if you put money into this, you deserve to have your money stolen. Like, you're fucking stupid. Like, you're not winning anything. You're not taking back award shows from anybody. Who fucking cares about gaming award shows anyway, you endless losers? But, like, really, like, yeah, like, obviously I enjoy, like, jiggle physics, like, but a category, like, I get what you're going for here, but just, if you're going to go the route of, like, biggest industry failure and best jiggle physics and worst bait and switch, like, ooh, worst video game journalist. It's either going to be Alyssa McCanty or Jason Schreier, probably. Like, I don't see who else is going to be on that fucking list. It'll probably be Alyssa because of her fighting with Stuttering Craig this entire goddamn year. Or maybe that Nick Calandro guy. He was definitely heavy in the weeds with that. Best video game journalist. Like, who are they going to say for that? Like, is Stuttering Craig just going to give it to himself at that point? Is he going to give it to, like, Smash JT or 8-Bit Eric or one of those guys? This is such a farce. Maybe they're just going to give it to Melanie Mack and she's going to go on stage and say the F slur. Like, oh boy. That's comedy right there, folks. The biggest cash grab, like, how do you judge that? I mean, I guess you can, but cash grabs also have to make money. Like, I guess they would put Concord in there. Best value, like, okay. But it's like, it's just so many random... It's like so many random ass genres. Like, if you're going to have like best racing game and like best story, like you don't have like best RPG or best action game or best adventure game. Like, you can do more generic categories too. But you have like best fighting game and best racing game. Or you do have best RPG. All right, sorry. But husbando of the year, waifu of the year, like, I don't know, man. Like, if you seriously took these categories from people giving you the money, then, like, this is the brain trust you have. This is the people you have supporting you. I'm actually curious to see. And it's not like I'm against, like, an alternate video game award kind of show. So, yeah, that's your categories for the Real Game Awards. Congratulations, gamers. You won. You took it back. The Video Game Awards, they are BTFO'd. It's fucking over. We have won, and the Wokies have lost. Goddamn, I can't wait for our future with our husbandos and our waifus. I mean, the jiggle physics are fine, though. All right, let's finish off this little segment here. Let's finish off this episode with... This is going to be the norm review that I was going to give to Brian, but, like, this is almost kind of a weird one for a norm review, because it's like... It's not, I think norm review works better when I present something and it's between two sides, and then, like, I kind of explain it to Brian and he says what side he thinks is in the right. Where this one, this isn't really a thing about sides. This is just a very weird series of events with something that I had no idea even existed until it blew up on Twitter. So, we're talking about the Gadot engine. And for those of you out there who don't know, the Gadot engine is a free open source game engine. Develop your 2D and 3D games, cross-platform projects, and XR ideas. And apparently, what do you call it? They've got themselves in a little bit of a hoopla over the last 2 weeks. Seems to have calmed down now, but about 2 weeks ago was a big thing. So it's ran by this guy who's named Reduzio. He's the one who started it, and he's a very apolitical guy from what I can tell and from anyone kind of says about him. He doesn't like politics. He's never wanted to be involved in politics. He just wanted to make an open source game development engine, which, fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, not everything needs politics thrown into it. How do you even throw politics into a game development engine? Well, we might be able to see. And on September 27th, they put out a tweet that went pretty viral. And it says, apparently game engines are woke now. Well then, we won't complain. Show us your hashtag WOCOT games below. So I guess in a way it's, it's a virtual signal and ish, I guess. I don't know what's virtual signaling on. It's just like, oh, hey, show your woke games. Okay, whatever. And they got a shitload of what they say is harassment. So a couple days later, on September 30th, they made a couple notes to the community. So they said, on Friday, we made a tweet that unexpectedly led to a wave of harassment directed at our staff and community. We unequivocally condemn this abuse. The volume of negative engagement overwhelmed our moderation efforts. While attempting to protect the Gadot community, we mistakenly blocked individuals who were not participating in harassment. The Gadot Foundation board takes full responsibility for these moderation actions. If you believe you were blocked in error and have not violated our code of conduct, please contact us with the link below. We are committed to swiftly rectifying any mistakes. We firmly stand by our mission to keep our community spaces free from hate, discrimination, and other toxic behaviors. The Gadot Foundation board. And they were saying on their community moderator, Xananax. We strongly condemn the harmful language used by Xananax, moderator of the unofficial Gadot-related Discord server. We want to clarify that Xanax is not hired by nor a spokesperson for the Gadot Foundation. As an organization, we have our own official Discord server, moderated together with new volunteers vetted by our team. And you go, on its face value, go, all right. Seems like it seems like a nothing burger. It's like, why should we even care about this? It's like, if it's an unofficial Discord and someone, goes off with whatever, why should you care? So let's first off go to the content itself. So Xananax is a person who, they just make a whole bunch of rambling stuff. So Xanax on the Discord said the drama wasn't created by Gadot, who just made a nice tweet to surface cool indie games. The drama is created by reactionary, insecure cowards who have nothing better to do in their day than to shit on something they are unconcerned with. They even feel persecuted because other people exist and are visible. These people's cowardice and small-mindedness is a danger to everyone. They're the filth of humanity, and banning them is a kindness to everyone, including themselves that way. They can continue to... It's just a lot of word salad. And going on to say you have no right of hate speech here because I consider your speech to be toxic vomit. If you think inviting queer people to share their games is politics, you're a toxic piece of fuck, an evil human, and I want you to feel disrespected. And to fuck off as fast as you can. Taking a hard stand there. So what could possibly be a thing that they were saying to lead this, even if it is an unofficial Discord server, we'll get to that in a second, that they have to be condemned for? It seems like typical, ultra-liberal progressive talking points. Well, back in this server, back in 2016, Xananax was a bit of a spicy person. And it involves a lot of the N-word. So it's post after post after post. It's all snow ends, but sand ends nonetheless. Just... N. A lot of sand ends. And they try to justify it by saying that, I guess they're Middle Eastern descent, something like that. So basically, hey, I'm this, so I can say it. But yeah, that turned out to be a wild kind of thing. And a lot of people on the community, the Discord, and all that were starting to get banned for speaking out against them, or even on Twitter and shit like that. And on its face, once again, you're thinking, this is kind of weird. Why, once again, does anyone care? And of course, Grums and the other people like that who always hop in on this culture war shit made their points. But there is... So basically, Grums quote tweeted the Reduzio guy who is the creator of it. And he says, I deeply believe that any political discussion that puts labels to a group of people is one that should have not started. As most of the people on this planet, no matter their political compass, seems to strongly disagree with me, I just prefer to stay entirely out of politics. So, which is, followed up by a tweet from a guy called King Harkonnen saying, I told you this would happen, and now your engine is hijacked by people making propaganda with it. You can say no to politics all you like, but like you can be a pacifist all the way to the soldiers arriving at your house. To which he says, I think you're overreacting. So Grums, of course, was going as the head of the person in denial. And this King Harkonnen guy put out a very long, but I actually do think it's an interesting rebuttal. Holy shit, that's a long tweet. Jesus goddamn Christ. So, the long and story short of it is, this Harkonnen guy has been following Gadot for a long time, both on Twitter and their blog posts, giving a rundown as he understands them. Raduzio is not a political guy. He has enemies, but dodges politics like the plague. His Twitter is 99% technical, and he always gives you your typical naive responses to anything political. With the old, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, it isn't about equality, there's no problem with it, blah, blah, blah. He's worked on Gadot or Godot, I don't know how you say it. I'm just saying it like Gal Gadot. For nearly 10 years, carried it, and basically developed it alone for a long time. It's a wonderful project, and he's very talented and does deserve the shit he's getting right now. The pressure shouldn't be on him, so I want to put on the right people instead. So apparently there is a Yuri Sizov, who is a top contributor, who suddenly got fired. And he's Russian. He was fired over Ukraine war reasons and basically not wanting to say Russia is evil. Then some months ago, the current content moderator was introduced. Immediately saw the writing on the wall because of the green hair and everything like that. They decided that the long-standing Gadot Discord server, now renamed Gadot Cafe, was just quote-unquote not good enough despite years of good functionality and over 90,000 members, and wanted an official server, quote-unquote. So the justification for the official server was to prevent hostile takeovers and to get the people moderation they deserved, which he is calling a power grab. So the new server was followed by a new code of conduct, which was through and through about far-left stuff. It was basically I'm not going to. I can put a link below. You can read this entire goddamn thing. You're not canceling me, goddammit, for just reading the news. But I think you're mistaken to scapegoat. Linitsky, the true culprit here, is Aiken. Aiken's a far-left advocate, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. I mean, basically, like, it's a lot of shitting on the left and all their ideals and crap like that, which, it's what you get out of that. But basically, of course, I want that CM out, the old Gadot community, to return to being only game dev oriented and apolitical. I think Linitsky's being manipulated, even threatened from inside of Aiken leaving the project, whoever that Aiken person is. Then the politicization must stop, contributors, blah, 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 blah. So really, the thing that caught my interest the most was the claim that the Gadot Cafe, where all this stuff took place and all these tweets and, the moderation and the blocking and all that stuff, Gadot Engine was saying that's not the official one. There's a new official one, even though Gadot Cafe started as the official one. And if that's true, then that's friggin' wild. Because, I even spent most of this episode saying, how I hate the grift of the anti-woke and DEI crowd, but sometimes the woke crowd does go too far and they can infiltrate, infiltrate might be a strong word, but, they can get their hands on something that's meant to be apolitical and just any side that gets enough people in a side of power. And if they're political, they're just going to throw their politics into it no matter what. So I don't know if something that's supposed to be this apolitical is run by a guy who's apolitical allowed something like this to happen and didn't realize what was going on. I don't know if that's weak leadership right there, or if he does just secretly agree with everything and he's passing the buck onto the people he put in these moderation powers. I don't know. It's just so weird to see all this hoopla over a small-time independent game development engine, really. And there was a ton of back and forth going on here. Even to the point that Notch, Minecraft Notch, he wrote a thing saying they actually could double down. That's not good. That's not good, dude. Write your own engine. It'll make the game feel more unique and you'll have all the control. It's not that difficult. If you can make a game, you can make an engine. Which, I don't know the first thing about fucking game development and programming. I took one C+ class and I was terrible at it. Couldn't even make a stoplight. But he goes on to say that there is no such thing as middleware for innovation, which, yeah, I mean, I can see that. If you want to go out there and make your own thing, make your own engine, make your own game, make your own mechanics, make your own physics, if you have the skill to do it, then you fucking should do it. But it's wild, man, just to see all this anger and hostility towards some independent game engine. And so apparently in response to that, there is a new thing called Redot. So the Redot is a new open source fork of Godot with the goal of fulfilling the promise of Godot. We'll be having a space on Friday, 10/4, which is already passed, to formally launch. Share and let us know what you want to see us cover. So there you go. I guess people from Godot or just fans of it are going and making their own thing now, which not kind of said to do. I don't know. If you want to go down like a really weird rabbit hole of like game development culture war, then I would suggest checking out these Twitter threads, and certain posts will be in the descriptions of everything on here. Whether it's iTunes or Spotify or YouTube, anywhere where you can find this Power Hour podcast. It's kind of an interesting read. It'll probably be infuriating for some, depending on maybe both sides of the political spectrum. They'll find something to be angry at, but it's just one of these weird corners of the internet that, like, I'm very internet poisoned, as we all know. Beer break. For as internet poisoned as I am, there is so many little corners that completely pass me by. And there's even big corners. Like, I still don't know what the hell Skibbity Toilet is. I'm 38. I have a line in the sand. I don't know what Skibbity Toilet is. I don't care to know what Skibbity Toilet is. All right? I'm taking a stand here. I know too much as it is. I know more than any 38-year-old should for all this boomer zoomer shit. Like, I unironically say yeet at this point, and even though I think that's like an old term now, I don't even know. But yeah, it's a weird one, man. Like, it seems like no matter what facet of gaming you are in at this point, you can't escape people yelling at each other and claiming power grabs and infiltration and just like being underdone from within. And there's always going to be someone there who's going to be at the top of the reporting mountain who will be there to get their Twitter shekels with their blue check marks for all the tweets and the anger that they can rile up. So, of course, all the Gadot people who have been mentioned here have gone either private or deactivated their accounts because they've just been, made these pariahs and flooded with goddamn stuff. And it's like, what do you expect? This is just another day on the internet at this point. And it's almost a thing where it's like, I mean, I guess in the old days it was the forums, but social media has just taken all this like attacking of people to such a new goddamn level that it's wild to see. But then again, it is like the idea of having something apolitical sounds nice. Like I when I grew up, I was still in the time when politics was boring. And like as a kid, I could say I don't care about fucking politics. As an adult now, you kind of have to. Like, you can't pretend to not know anything about politics at this point. But there was a time when like politics was really boring. And like no one cared to watch a presidential debate because no one really cared. But now everything's like so angry and hateful, and like you have so much information at the touch of a button 24 hours a day. You just can't escape it. And it's just everything people care about now. And like they just try to get their wins where they can and just take something from here and take something from there to like put their ideology on it. It's wild to see. I don't really know what point I had with that, except for like gaming's just in this weird, wild spot that I can't remember ever seeing it in. Like, I can never, at a time when like game development and game culture, obviously you can go back to the original Gamergate, but ever since Gamergate 1, man, ever since 2014, it's just been a wild ride of seeing people get just progressively angrier and angrier at each other and more extreme in their thoughts as time has gone on. Wild shit, man. Gaming's in a very weird spot. But at the end of the day, if you're a game developer and like the engine you're using sucks, then or you don't agree with, then yeah, take Notch's advice and just fucking make your own. It might make it harder to do, but it's kind of the thing like anything else, like even politics aside. Well, I guess maybe not politics aside, but at the end of the day, like if a game is good enough, it'll get the word of mouth and people will learn about it. It's like anything else. Like the cream rises to the crop, as the Macho Man would say. So no matter what engine you use and what politics is behind it, or what the company that you work for is behind it, if you want to put out the game of your dreams with the message of your dreams, then make some fucking indie game. And, do it yourself and put it out there and see if you're good enough. That's the only thing I can think of. But That will do it for this episode of the Power Hour. It's it was an interesting one. You know what it is? I find myself constantly interested in these culture war topics. I don't know if anyone else out there is. And if you're kind of sick of them, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. But it's just weird to see like the bag, like anyone can like talk about a press release for a new game and shit like that, or a new attachment or console. And we talk about that here too all the time because that is the news. But the culture war shit right now is just so, and like, it makes me super depressed to look at all the time, but I just can't look away from. It's just so goddamn interesting just to see both sides, how they take these jabs at each other and how it infiltrates into real life and how just aggressive it gets and how many people turn on each other and how people turn on like their entire old personalities on the internet at the drop of a dime to fit either what would get them to clicks or what they actually really believe. It's weird. But yeah, going back to the Rush beer. It's good, man. Got me through this episode. So I think when I'm done, I don't think I'm going to be rushing out to get another case of this when I'm done this case. It's a good beer. As a big Rush fan, I'm glad I was able to enjoy it. But if you like Golden Ales, again, this is definitely one to get. Golden Ales aren't my go-to kind of brand of beer, but it's a solid one. And if you like Golden Ales, this is definitely one to get. And before I repeat myself 1,000 times anymore with my rambling, just want to say thank you all for checking out this episode of the Power Hour. Power Hour. I really appreciate it. Next week, Brian will be back. We'll be back to stuff as usual. I will be getting into Berserk Boy, our last Patreon review request. I'll start getting all the gameplay footage for that so we can be finally done with all these requests. Not that we haven't enjoyed looking at them, and we've had some very interesting titles thrown our way. But it'll be nice to like work on videos again that are just more passion projects instead of homework, to put it bluntly. But once again, thank you to everyone out there. Take care of yourselves. We will see you next week, whatever day we upload anything. And as always, guys, cheers.